So today I'm talking about ISO, the standard known as the messaging standard ISO 200, or should I say 20022? That's how they say it. I'm also going to talk a bit about the importance of APIs, automated programming interface. I think it's what it is, something pretty sure. So yeah, APIs and our ISO 20022, which is kind of like an API in itself. It's really just going to standardize the whole global payment system. And so we're going to go through what it is, what the ramifications for us are, and how could it be used? I mean, what are its what is it going to do for us directly? So who created the ISO 20022 standard? It was first introduced by the International Organization for Standardization in 2004. So it goes back before crypto. So that sort of put a little light bulb off on my head when I thought, wow, this has been planned since before crypto. So I think that's a fairly interesting statistic. And it was designed to give the financial industry a standard platform for developing messages in one extensible markup language, XML rule. It was specifically created within the International Organization for Standardization. They have all these different committees and subcommittees dealing with all different areas of business and life and products and stuff. And so the actual name for the creation of this particular standard is TC68, Technical Committee 68. And basically this is an organization that's owned by some of the biggest players in the world, banks and other institutions. And it's this group is responsible for creating the global standards for the financial services industry, specifically for the financial services industry. TC68 is responsible for standards that cover core banking, capital markets, including asset management, payments, credit card processing, and information security aspects specific to financial services. So it encompasses quite a lot of important areas of basically the core of the financial sector. So what is ISO 20022 and what are APIs? Okay, as we just seen, it was created in 2004. It's a new standard for global payments. With APIs, it will be the biggest change to the payments industry in 70 odd years. Going back to Bretton Woods and the creation of the Bretton Woods that was the reset of the time. And to highlight this, I'm going to play a short video that you can. I'm just going to have to minimize this. I'm just going to play. Going to have to do that. Here we go.
When people communicate, they often get confused and end up misunderstanding each other. Take the word football, for instance. It might mean one thing to an American and something entirely different to a Brit. Well, it's no different in the business world, where the stakes are way higher. Here, a simple misunderstanding can lead to disastrous consequences. So how do you improve communication? make sense of different meanings, standards, and formats, and get everyone in the financial sector on the same page. Easy, by using ISO 20022, the international standard that's designed to simplify global business communication. You see, ISO 20022 solves communication confusion. How? Well, it offers a global dictionary of common language that everyone can understand, so information can be processed and exchanged worldwide, clearly and consistently, making it easier than ever to communicate financial information between people and systems. What's more, ISO 20022 is a free and open standard, which means that anyone, anywhere can add their 2 cents to the dictionary to help write and build solid business standards right across the globe. Not only does ISO 20022 streamline communication for payments, securities, funds, foreign exchange trading, and credit card sectors, it also reduces risk, big time. ISO 20022, because common understanding leads to effective communication and makes doing business a whole lot easier. To learn more about ISO 20022, visit one of these websites.
Okay, so that's that one. Now I'm going to play another one on about APIs.
Connectivity is an amazing thing. By now, we're all used to the instant connectivity that puts the world at our fingertips. From desktops or devices, we can purchase, post, pin, and pick anything, anywhere. We are connected to the world and each other like never before. But how does it happen? How does data get from here to there? How do different devices and applications connect with each other to allow us to place an order, make a reservation, or book a flight with just a few taps of clicks? The unsung hero of our connected world is the Application Programming Interface, or API. It's the engine under the hood and is behind the scenes that we take for granted, but it's what makes possible all the interactivity we've come to expect and rely upon. But exactly what is an API? It's a question everyone asks. Okay, not really, but we're glad you did. The textbook definition goes something like this. In computer programming, an application programming interface, API, is a set of routines, protocols, and tools for building software. An API expresses a software component and implements operations, inputs, outputs, and underlying types. Okay, to speak plainly, an API is the messenger that takes requests and tells a system what you want to do, and then returns the response back to you. To give you a familiar example, think of an API as a waiter in a restaurant. Imagine you're sitting at the table with a menu of choices to order from, and the kitchen is the part of the system which will prepare your order. What's missing is the critical link to communicate your order to the kitchen and deliver your food back to your table. That's where the waiter, or API, comes in. The waiter is the messenger that takes your request or order and tells the system, in this case, the kitchen, what to do, and then delivers the response back to you, in this case, food. Now that we've whetted your appetite, let's apply this to a real API example. You are probably familiar with the process of searching for airline flights online. Just like at a restaurant, you have a menu of options to choose from. A drop-down menu in this case. You choose a departure city and date, a return city and date, cabin class, and other variables. In order to book your flight, you interact with the airline's website to access the airline's database to see if any seats are available on those dates and what the cost might be based on certain variables. But what if you're not using the airline's website, which has direct access to the information? What if you are using an online travel service that aggregates information from many different airlines? The travel service interacts with the airline's API. The API is the interface that, like your helpful waiter, can be asked by that online travel service to get information from the airline system over the internet to book seats, choose meal preferences, or baggage options. It also then takes the airline's response to your request and delivers it right back to the online travel service, which then shows it to you. So now you can see that it's APIs that make it possible for us all to use travel sites. The same goes for all interactions between applications, data, and devices. They all have APIs that allow computers to operate them, and that's what ultimately creates connectivity. So whenever you think of an API, just think of it as your waiter running back and forth between applications, databases, and devices to deliver data and create the connectivity that puts the world at our fingertips. And whenever you think of creating an API, think MuleSoft.
Okay, so that's a pretty simple. It's a pretty simple explanation for what ISO is and what APIs are. I think, and these particular programming languages, or whatever you like to call them, they're going to be very instrumental in crypto, particularly the initial tokens that we know are signed up to this standard. We can go into that a bit more, but basically, like for instance, the project Quant, the token Quant, that is really using APIs to link up the existing system with the new crypto system. That's going to be heavily involved in being like a master, like the hub of this new system. And there are other projects as well that are also using APIs for transiting the system. And XRP will be very important for the payments side of things, the settlement, which we will touch on as well. So anyway, so actually I got it wrong. It's not automated programming interface. It's an application programming interface, API, and a software intermediary that allows two applications to talk to each other. So that's really, and that example that they used with the airline and how you search, that's APIs that's pulling all that information together. And, some of our projects like the Flare network, we know about Flare. I've spoken about Flare before, and they are going to be using APIs for exactly the same way, where they will be able to connect with exchanges, and they'll be able to connect with financial institutions and financial data, so that they can make sure that they're buying and selling at the right price. And APIs will be heavily involved in a lot of crypto projects. So it can bring real-time data to the platform. That is just so important. Otherwise, people will exploit it. If they're not able to do it in real time, there'll be bound to be scammers that can then skew the system. So when is this ISO 20022 standard rolling out? Well, it's actually live now. It went live in New Zealand in March 2023, and I did speak about that. But however, in November, it's going to go live with several major financial institutions and other global messaging systems and payment settlement platforms, including what's called the clearinghouse, and their system is known as CHIPS, which is Clearinghouse International Payment System, I think it is. It's CHIPS. And then you've got SEPA, which is the big European that connects all the Euro countries together. And even, I believe, the Federal Reserve is also linking into the standard as well, in literally next month. So that is a massive leap forward. So CHIPS is the premier US dollar clearing platform. Now, when they say clearing, they mean they're clearing the payment. They're settling the payment for international payment activity, with 95% of the payments using cross-border cross-border services. So they are a massive player for the US. And then you've got SEPA, which is obviously huge for Europe, and you've got the Fed as well. So they're all plugging into this. And then there's numerous other payment providers And there's going to be a whole bunch of new ones coming that we know of in the fintech industry. This is going to allow for things like the decentralized banking systems that we're looking at. It's going to bring crypto into mainstream. It's going to do a lot of things. So in November 23, message format conversion will help CHIPS messages get into the same format as other big payment systems, which will improve efficiency and information content to cross-border payments with the clearinghouse. CHIPS is used to settle around 1.8 trillion in payments per day, and it uses liquidity savings algorithm matches to offset payments. Not quite sure what that is, but this is just one payment provider, one in the US. Yeah, it's a big one, but just that one system is settling 1.8 trillion per day. So you can imagine what could be coming around the corner. So I made I've got a few websites here that I was just briefly going to show you. Whoops, don't want that. This was an Australian payment provider called New Payments Platform. So all these new payment providers are springing up now, and they're all based on the blockchain, and it brings the blockchain world into the traditional financial world. That's what these APIs and ISO can do. And so I just wanted to show you, this is one that's adopting the ISO standard, and they're just talking about it, what we've already seen. So they're super excited by it. And then is about New Zealand. New Zealand, as I mentioned, the Reserve Bank is already plugged into it from earlier this year. So just so you know, it's coming very close to home. It's in this zone here now, in this 20 March 2023 to November 2025. November 2025 is when all institutions are required to be joined up to this. So they've still got another couple of years before everybody is fully in. But what they've been saying is that they reckon at least 80% of the payment providers and major players will all be in by this coming month of November this year. So they are urging their members apparently to get involved and get online now. So that to me says there's a certain urgency. So we kind of probably know why that might be. So yeah, so you know, we're joined up with it. It's coming. We already this is well, this is just a whole bunch of stuff where I got some of my my info from. This is a one-pager about it from Ripple. So Ripple is the company that produces the XRP token. And so, yeah, you're going to see this is obviously, you know, hugely impactful on them and on their token and on anyone who's an XRP holder. So what they're saying here, cross-border payments aren't ready for the future. Global payment standards are fragmented, resulting in closed networks, unstructured data, and opaque payments that require manual intervention and ultimately a poor payments experience. So that's sort of been the past. The world is converging on a new global standard, ISO20022, the de facto global data standard for modern payments. To help enable this next step in global interoperability and meet the evolving needs of our customers, Ripple is now part of the ISO 20022 standards body, the first member focused on distributed ledger technology. So meaning basically their version of the blockchain. Already adopted in 70 countries, it is estimated that 87% of global financial transactions will be supported by ISO 20022 by 2023. Through RippleNet and its ISO 20022 membership, customers are able to help define the future direction of cross-border payments, access a network of global financial institutions governed by rules and functional standards, leverage software to enable fast, transparent, and seamless cross-border payments, connect to one standardized API for all counterparty connections, simplify implementation and reduce operational overhead. And this is what they say here. This is one of their companies, I think, is one of their clients. It is our duty to continuously search for superior technological solutions to deliver ever improved remittance services for our customers. With the steady rise of remittance flows, we see Ripple helping us open up new revenue potential and a better overall experience from our customers. And there's some of their other partners. That's SBI Remit. And you've got Santander, which is a huge global organization. MUFG, I'm not sure who that is. Over 300 financial institutions around the world rely on Ripple's growing global payments network, payout capabilities in 70 plus countries, presence in 45 plus countries and 6 continents. And this is outdated. This is at least a year or 18 months old, if not longer. I'd say that those 300 financial institutions are more like 1,000 now. So they're going to be huge. And also, I think there's a lot of rumors that Ripple are about to do an IPO, a share. They're going to go public and go and offer their company up as shares. So that's that part. So now let's go back to here. Okay, so what will ISO 20022 actually do? What will it do for us? What's it going to actually, what's the big deal about it? What's its application? Okay, so it means much greater connectivity. Well, actually not much greater, actual connectivity between traditional banks and financial institutions and crypto and their companies. So what I mean is it's for the first time, it's bringing connectivity to crypto, to the existing system. And big banks, it means that big banks have got competition. It means that fintechs can now compete on the same level playing field. And it means that, yeah, it's a massive disruption to the existing system. It's going to enable, it's potentially able to enable payroll payments. So, I mean, that's huge. That's a huge aspect there. People can get paid using this standard, and eventually they will get paid in, I believe, in crypto. People will be getting paid in digital. There'll be digital fiat and there'll be digital, crypto, and there'll probably be a CBDC as well. So this ISO is going to connect that all up. Cross-border payments in any currency. So that's huge. We don't have that right now. It's all a hodgepodge run by SWIFT, which I'm going to go into the comparison with. But these cross-border payments means any currency to any currency, any fiat to any crypto back to fiat. So, and done in a blink of an eye, and for a fraction of a cent in Ripple's case, and also no middleman. Automated account receivables and payables. So what they can do is they can set up their accounts so that they can receive payments and make payments using this standard. And it can all be timed and put on like an automated payment system. So it's all going to greatly enhance the efficiency of that. It'll be interlinked with credit cards as well. It'll deal with import-export payments and money held in lieu of receipt of shipment and all of that. So it means the money can be put on the blockchain, and the recipient could see that the money is there, and then when the shipment arrives, then it's automatically released by a smart contract. That's what XDC is predominantly involved with. Domestic payments. So it's going to change our domestic payments. It's already happening. We're already getting real-time payments now. When people make payments online, it's received virtually immediately. That is a direct effect from this ISO standard, and basically XRP, I believe, is being used in the background. And real-time settlement. So SWIFT is not real-time settlement. SWIFT is only the messaging system. With this system, they'll be able to do the messaging and the payment, and then the receipt of the payment, which is the settlement, can all happen simultaneously, all happening immediately. So what's the difference between ISO and SWIFT? Well, it's going to be, according to them, it's going to be a lot more transparent. That's a great thing. It's going to mean much faster payments than SWIFT. SWIFT takes days. So it's really going to speed it up to basically instant payments. But in the case of our current system, you can send the payment, but the repayment, the money is not received at the other end for a number of days, because it has to go through their middlemen and the convoluted system. So the payments, the settlement houses, like the chips that I mentioned, that is a clearinghouse. That is a settlement. They're the ones that handle the payments. And that is done separately from SWIFT, which sends the message that the payment is coming. So with this ISO, it's all going to happen at the same time. So that's going to be, will be hugely more efficient. And so it means instant settlement anywhere in the world. That's a big change. It means that there's a lot more data that you can use, a lot more data you can pull on, informational data, not just the sending of money. It's going to be, they say, a lot more data rich is the term they used. I mean, a lot less errors. They reckon about 20% of all SWIFT payments have errors, or they don't reach their destination. That's just crazy in this day and age. Much less manual input. So it means, I think it's going to mean that a lot of people are going to get laid off in the banks. Basically, is what that means. It means a lot of staff are going to go. It's going to save a lot of time and costs for the banks, as well as costs for us as well. But it's going to be a great saving for the banks as well. They might be losing in one area, but they'll be gaining in other areas. Apparently, it's going to be a lot less fraud. It's going to be enabled. So I'd hope that that is the case. And it's going to bring a lot more liquidity into the system. It's certainly going to bring a lot more liquidity to the crypto area. And it potentially could increase the velocity of money. The amount of time, how quickly money changes hands is a very important measure as to how well the economy is going. And at the moment, the velocity of money is at historic lows. That means no one is spending, no one is doing anything. People are sitting on things. There's very little changing hands. There's very little money being exchanged and things bought and sold. And this is partly because, or mainly because, the Fed is also pulling money out of the system, what they call quantitative easing, which basically means they're not lending money to the banks for the banks to lend out to us. So it's we're right on the edge of the major shift. So the crypto that is involved with this ISO standard, bear in mind this is the initial tranche of cryptos. I think there will be a lot more coming, but these are the early movers that have signed up to this. And XRP, I think, has really been spearheading this. I put them at the top. There's XLM, which is Stellar. They're very, very involved in this as well. They're also the other DLT technology. So they are very instrumental in cross-border payments as well. But I think XRP will be handling the bigger accounts, and XLM will be handling some of the more retail side of things. And then this Hedera hash graph, or HBAR as it's known, XDC with its import-export and trade finance area. Quant, who I mentioned before, who are really the hub of putting this API system in play. They are very much involved in there. ADA, which is Cardano, apparently are a part of it as well, although some people don't seem to recognize that, but I'm pretty sure Cardano is in there. So that's an Ethereum competitor. IOTA, which is the Internet of Things, linking up machines and linking us to linking our payments to machines. There's another big change that is going to be happening there. And Algo, or Algorand as well, which is also part of this. If you like, they've signed up to the standard as the initial lot. So what are the effects? What effects could these APIs and this ISO standard have? It's going to mean a massive increase in utility and use case for crypto. It means that crypto will come out of the shadows and be brought legitimately into the light. And then everyone will start seeing that it's here, and it will have these massive use cases: payments, cross-border payments, bridge currency, on-demand liquidity, tokenization. It's just going to go on and on and on. There's going to be so much utility, and that you could say that this standard, once it's released fully, is going to bring a tidal wave of use case to the crypto area. Easy accessibility to spend, save, and buy crypto. So what it really means is it means that we will then start being able to earn, we'll be able to spend, we'll be able to save, and we'll be able to buy crypto without any without any obstacles from banks, and we'll be able to have much more freedom to use our crypto like a true currency. That is going to be massive for us because we're already in the game. We're already at the start line. We're already ready to go. So once they flick the switch and once we start seeing more institutions starting to join in with this standard and with these APIs, they will eventually, it'll all get announced at once. It'll all be there'll be a big switch moment, a cutover moment. And so that's looming. It'll be the ability for us to leave traditional banks and fiat currencies if we so choose. That's huge. So traditional banks, I think, they're going to have a lot of exiting customers over time. Unless obviously they are going to get into crypto as well. So a lot of the banks that are quick to pivot and are well managed, they will survive quite well. But I bet there's a few that go to the wall, a few more that go to the wall, and partly because they're already so debt laden. But if they're not able to move into the crypto, in a good manner, they may well end up on the outer. It's going to mean a lot more interoperability between banks, between themselves and their own banks, between crypto within the crypto universe, with crypto to cash, banks to cash, or what we'll say fiat. I'll say fiat money. New fintech businesses will be able to interoperate, and even machines and AI are going to be programmed with this as well, so that you could literally connect up with like vending machines and eventually with these so-called smart houses. They're going to use this. They can use APIs to connect up. You can literally get your AI to pay your bill and stuff like this, and you can connect up your coffee machine to your fridge or whatever. I mean, I'm not quite sure how that was going to work, but apparently houses are going to become more, the modern houses are going to become totally linked up in a Wi-Fi so that they can all talk to each other. And it will also mean, it'll be potentially connected to your crypto as well if you've got to make a payment. So that's a big area that's going to be a huge shock to a lot of people. It's going to mean fast, cheap payments. Fees will be greatly reduced from banks because of the lack of middlemen, no middlemen. It brings the excluded people into the financial system. The unbanked and underbanked are going to be able to fully participate in the financial system. It opens up new opportunities for small businesses and for everyone, really, in lots of areas. There are going to be a lot of opportunities opening up. There's going to be lots of dangers and traps and that as well, but there's going to be a lot of new opportunities for those who see them and are able to have the ability and the nous to be able to seize upon them. And it will become a more transparent economy, I think, predominantly because of the blockchain aspect. What blockchain and crypto is bringing to the party is going to help with that transparency and with the privacy as well. So we have to wait and see, but that's a prediction that I'm making. But it's not going to be all a bed of roses. Certainly going to be a lot of thorns and that, but the potential is enormous for positive developments for humanity. Ripple. So Ripple and XRP, is it the king of payments? I think that it's going to be one of them. It won't be, it's not going to have it to itself. It's not going to be the only one, but I think it's going to be one of the major ones in time, especially over the next few years. Because what they're bringing to the party, what they're bringing to the table is like huge developments in technology. Like their on-demand liquidity is massive. There is a massive leap forward in making global payments, because normally what happens is banks, they all have their pairings around the world and they all have to hold different currencies to be able to, because they don't trust each other, so they all hold currencies in each other that's required of them in case one of the banks doesn't send the money or something goes wrong. And so they've got to, they've got to hold huge amounts of money collectively. They reckon it's trillions of dollars are literally held in accounts that they can't touch. So it's going to free that up. How that's going to be distributed, but it's going to be interesting to see how it all reacts with the falling, collapsing economy. It's going. They are cross-border payment kings. I think they're going to really master that as a bridge currency. They're going to be a bridge between all different other currencies. They'll be fully interoperable. Much as what ISO is bringing, so does Ripple bring their own particular flavor. Their many partners link with most countries in the world, so they've got partners that they've either bought into, or they just have got a contract deal with, and that basically gives them access to most countries in the world, including New Zealand, with a company called Accenture. They've got their automated decentralized exchange at the core of their tech. So they've got an inbuilt decentralized exchange. Whereas, a lot of other cryptos, if we want to convert one of our cryptos to another crypto, you've got to go to a place like Uniswap or PancakeSwap, and then you do the exchange. But when you're sending money via XRP and Ripple, it's all inbuilt into the core technology, and it all happens automatically. So that makes it far more secure, far more unable to be hacked, and it's just superior technology. And so that is taking the place, if you like, of the middleman. And then they've got their on-demand liquidity sitting in the middle, so that they just swap out the currency they're sending with the XRP, and then they swap it back into the currency that the recipient is receiving. And so it's all done with their pool of liquidity in the middle. They will have reach to all other areas of the economy through NFTs, tokenization, gaming, and much more. So they're not just a global payment currency. As Brad Garlinghouse, the CEO, puts it, he says, we're a bit like Amazon in the early days, where at the beginning, Amazon just had Amazon Books, and that's a bit like how they've just aiming for global payments now is like Amazon Books, but eventually they want to be have their fingers in a whole lot of other pies as well. So they're going to be, I think, a huge force to be reckoned with. There was also a lot of rumors that an IPO is coming for them very soon. So when that happens, it's game on as well. It really will be a big shock to a lot of people, particularly the XRP haters. Probably just make them hate even more, but it's going to be a big move. They're aiming to be their ultimate goal is to be a global reserve and global payment currency and global reserve currency. So if they can pull that off, it would be like absolutely massive. And this could help bring peace to the world, because most of these sanctions and it's financial war games going on all over the place right now. And it's because one centralized body or one centralized bank can wield power over another country's centralized bank. And in the case of Russia, they seized hundreds of billions of dollars of their money that was held in Forex, that they were doing the Forex trading. So they literally just seized that money. Well, with Ripple's technology, that won't be able to happen. And there won't be these war games, financial war. Most wars are financial wars, or all wars are bankers' wars. So with a neutral currency that can't be touched, it can't be tampered with, and it's completely fair and ubiquitous. It's the same for everybody. That is going to be a game changer for this unrest that we've got in the world. So no one is going to be able to mess with it. And countries won't be able to hold other countries to ransom over money. So I think that is a huge area that a lot of people don't really see or understand. So in summary, ISO20022 is a key foundation of the coming new financial system. It's a key pillar of the new system. It's absolutely fundamental. It will not mean immediate price increase on our cryptos. We might get a little bit of a pump, but unfortunately, most people, they don't see it by now. They're not going to see it. They're not looking. They're so distracted and so busy on all their other things and all the other dramas that are going on in the world. It's sadly, it's not going to have a big impact at first. However, it is setting the scene for mass adoption from 2025. It's absolutely laying down the planks for mass adoption, and it's laying down the more accessibility and ease for the big boys to start moving into crypto and start buying it up. But that won't happen all at once. Not all at once immediately upon November 19th, I think it is when they go live with these other big players. It is breaking up the current banks and even the central bank's monopoly over money. That is changing the game there, hugely disrupting the incumbent banks and even the central banks, because they're the ones who are carrying the debt. They're the ones who are in trouble. And so they're basically going to need this technology. It is going to be a lot more efficient and will greatly reduce bank fees while opening up the entire financial economy to the whole world for the first time ever. First time ever, the whole world will be able to participate in the entire financial economy. So that will bring in a lot more funds, a lot more money will be flowing around in the economy. The velocity of money will definitely be affected when that happens. The crypto is a double-edged sword for the banks and large financial institutions. Some of them love it. A lot of them hate it, particularly the big banks. They hate it because they are the ones who were gaining the most out of the existing system. However, they will get savings and fees in their own fees when they're doing interbank payments. They reckon that for some banks, the fees of sending large amounts of money they're one of their highest expenses. So they're going to save a lot themselves in interbank money sending. And also big banks like JP Morgan are extracting, because they are the settlement banks. These big banks have more powers over the little banks. And so the little banks are going to have a lot more to gain from crypto. Whereas the big super banks, the investment banks, they are not happy about it. But what they're doing is they're trying to develop their own tokens. And in time to come, you may see each bank have its own token. And they'll be all interoperable with crypto. But also, banks are going to lose a lot of income in fees, particularly from us, from the retail side. They're going to lose a lot of fees, credit card fees, account fees, all the other fees that they charge. There's going to be ISPOS fees. I mean, you go on and on. There's a lot of fees when you add it all up. And so there's going to be a lot of losers as well. However, they are in danger of losing a lot of their current business as well. I mean, that's where the banks are particularly going to get hit. If they lose, people exit the banks completely and go elsewhere, there'll be a lot of banks that are going to have to do some real fast moving to try and hold on to their existing client base, I think. ISO will help to grow and develop decentralized finance and decentralization in general through access to crypto. It will provide a lot of liquidity for the crypto and decentralized finance industry that's popping up, because the money can easily flow then from the existing system, you see, and it will flow into, it will go where water will always seek it will always seek the lowest common ground. It will follow the path of least resistance, and money, like water, will flow to decentralization because it is the ultimate option for people. May not be perfect, and certainly not at the beginning, but it's going to be a whole lot better, especially if you know what we're doing and you know where the money's going and what's what. It's going to be greatly advantageous. So there will be again, I think that really the bottom line is knowledge. Knowledge is power when it's applied. And for those who are ignorant of what's happening, they're going to probably be the biggest losers, as is always the way. It's always the way in the world. Those who have the right contacts and the right knowledge and are acting on it, they're the ones who always will protect themselves the best and do well. Whereas people who are just so preoccupied with all these distractions or grumbling and moaning and whining about everything that's wrong, they're just going to keep getting more of it until they start to get the short shift, if you like, the hard, cold slap in the face that could be coming. It's, certainly initially. I mean, maybe as time goes on, it's hoped that the whole thing opens right up. We get real disclosure, and people can get back onto a better track of life. But we're right on the verge of that now. It's certainly incredible times. So that's basically my presentation. I'll stop the recording.